Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction to read through for Omniscient Reader, or Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint, chapters 186, 187, and 188, I guess? Maybe more, maybe less, I don't know. Probably I would aim for more rather than less. I'm very sorry that last week we didn't have, is that 2 weeks in a row with no ORV? Maybe, maybe not, I don't remember, because I was sick for a while, and then I don't remember if I had a video or not. I think I might have. But then, last week I didn't plan to take, yeah, I did have a video before last week. Last week I didn't plan to take the week off from ORV, even though it was Christmas and everything, but I literally did not get time. I didn't get any time to do it, which is a bummer, because I really was not planning to take the week off from ORV. But yeah, either way, as of this video, we're only a year behind. I'm doing things that came out in December of last year. For some of you, it might already be January, actually. But for me, it's still December. So, yeah, we're only a year behind. From now on, every week, I'm still going to be doing a couple chapters. However many depends on how much time I have, or when you all say is a good place to stop for the week. So yeah, it's gonna only be a few more months until we're caught up. And even then, being caught up, like I said, there's still tons of more things to do. I would love to do reviews of the different chapters or arcs of the series. I'd love to do different ranking videos or just different videos discussing different parts of the story. So there's a lot I would still like to do. Some things, again, I would need to avoid novel spoilers a little bit. But yeah, I'm excited to be able to do all of that some more too. And like I had been saying, I will do another character ranking at some point before we catch up. I think I did the last one at like chapter 100 or something, and I had said I was going to do the next around chapter 200, but all of you were like, hold on, wait a little bit longer, sometime in the 220s. Again, I'm not sure exactly when, but sometime in the 220s, there's some sort of like break in the story, like end of one big overarching thing, start of a new overarching thing, that would be a better place to do it than just at chapter 200 itself. So sometime in the 220s, whenever that is, I'll do another character ranking video. But yeah, I guess with all of that aside, let's just start reading. I guess there's not too much more to say. The way we ended off was one of Dionysus's sort of messengers, I guess, or incarnations or something, was delivering the message, delivering information to Dokja, and the stuff that we were directly seeing was Huiwon infiltrating the stuff that they're doing down in the deep dark down below of Paradise and getting confronted by the gerbil himself, showing that, yeah, one of the 10 evils or whatever, very much just outing himself as, okay, time to be evil, it's evil time. So 186, we're starting out with, you're here, Archangel's incarnation. We have him with all of the messed up creatures. Did you finally decide to become the captain of the guards here? I like how they stop attacking her for a bit to just look over, like, what's he talking? What's he saying? Alright, chapter 32, Kim Dokja's Love, part 4. So we're still on Kim Dokja's Love. Huh. How can you say that after having created a place like this? That's a really good shot. It's a really good shot. And I just generally, I've always loved ORV's art style. Paradise? A place where we're free from the scenarios. If you want to kill me, go ahead. I was going to, even if you didn't say that. Personal skill Time of Judgment has been activated. The constellations of the Absolute Good Alignment are contemplating your request. Is this going to be a difficult thing? Where, what happens when you run into gray morality? What happens when you run into he's doing bad things, but is also providing a safe place for potentially hundreds, maybe even thousands, we don't know quite how big Paradise is, of people? What? They're contemplating it? Because it's like, how do you judge it? It's like, okay, if he provides a safe place for all of these people, but if he does it by doing bad things, do we say that he's evil because he does the bad things? Or how much does the good justify it? So it is maybe something you do have to think about. If you kill me, paradise will be ended. I know, and again, if they're the pure good alignment, can they just be like, oh yeah, we'll give you total permission to go ahead and kill him, because by killing him, you are indirectly killing potentially hundreds or thousands of people. So it's like, would you then not be good? Because even though you're not doing it directly or on purpose, and even though you have very just reasons for wanting to take out the gerbil, you would be inadvertently killing all these people. So could you consider yourself that good anymore? I know that you've suspected it to a certain extent. No, I'm sure you already knew. The constellations of the absolute good alignment have left the decision to Jung Hui-won. Okay, they're letting Hui-won decide that there's no such thing as a perfect paradise. And I like this story-wise too, leaving the decision to Hui-won. It, instead of justifying her actions, makes it gives her character choice. Instead of being like, oh, you want to kill this guy? It's fine because he's evil anyway. It makes it so that Hui-won and what she wants and what she thinks matters more as a perfect paradise. The very obvious fact of life that shadows lurk, where beauty exists. Sorry, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. I was going to say gay furry spotted. I did know. I would be lying if I said I didn't, but this wasn't what I was expecting. What are you trying to achieve with the monsters that you're breeding? Will you conquer Dark Castle? I won't do anything. They are no more than nutrients for paradise. I wonder how this works then. Give me an explanation, please. It can't be, she thinks, looking up to the, what I call it last time? The most cursed peach tree. This tree. And we see the flowers. Don't you find it strange that demons don't attack this place when the rest of Dark Castle is full of them? So, does the peach tree and the flowers that grow keep the demons away, but in order to do so they need humans to feed on, or people in general to feed on? Not necessarily humans, but people. Don't you wonder how Dark Castle came to be infested with so many demons? More people are grabbed and pulled into the maw of the peach tree. I just want to know. I'm not going to be able to pick her out in a lineup. I don't remember exactly what she looked like. I just want the little girl's mom to be okay. They scream, help me, as they get thrown into the furnace, so to speak. It's a flash of light. And we have the gluck sound effects as the nutrients are pushed upward through the tree. And then into the soil above. And we have, gosh, I really love this panel. I love that. And we see the one flower bloom and nutrients go up through it. A flash of light coming from that. And I guess that keeps some sort of barrier up. We have blood dripping from the... Oh, and the fruit it creates are the malformed creatures. The tree that creates demons, perpetual motion. Is this the girl's mom? It was paradise, where all the demons were created. Once every month, the demons that were born here were released. There's a limit to how many of them we can hold here. How could you do such a thing? Someone had to. Life goes on for even losers of the scenario. Somebody had to create a place for them. If you really wanted to help them, you should have helped them carry on with the scenarios. So now Hui-won is being like, okay, the scenarios are the way to go. The enemy in the next scenario isn't someone we can defeat. Do you know what's waiting for us upstairs? It's not a matter of what is waiting, or what it is that's waiting for us. And even if we clear the next scenario, there will always be another one waiting for us. And that is, I think, a perfectly understandable conclusion to come to, especially anybody who's made it to this point, including Gerbil, will have gone through a lot of traumatic stuff, and it's totally reasonable to be like, hey, this isn't a perfect paradise, but it's what we've got, because it is a situation where every time you complete a scenario, a bunch of people die, a bunch of people suffer, and there's no, the Dokubi haven't said, oh yeah, there's an end game waiting for you. Basically, all you can see in the future is more death and suffering, and then if you survive that, more death and suffering again. So it's a totally understandable conclusion to come to. But we can keep fighting, can't we? It's a scenario, there must be an end to it. If we keep honing our skills and collecting stories, do you really believe that we'll be able to clear all the scenarios? And again, even if you do keep honing your skills and collecting stories, at what point does that then just make you another constellation, continuing the cycle? Do you think peace will come when we achieve that? Has anyone ever managed to reach the end of the scenarios? But there are constellations. Constellations. They exist outside of the scenarios. That would mean there's that's her. They exist outside of the scenarios. That would mean there's a way for us to escape the scenarios. There was a time when I used to believe that. Why do you think that the constellations are beings that have cleared, or who cleared all the scenarios? And again, a logical assumption to be like, oh, the constellations exist. If we clear the scenarios, we'll just be constellations, but nowhere was anyone ever told that. Especially seeing Dokja kind of become a constellation, it's like, okay, you can think that eventually you become one, but that's again, not a guaranteed thing, just like an end isn't a guaranteed thing. I guess stories aren't guaranteed an ending, you know? Constellations are also in a scenario of their own. Whether it's their 76th or 84th, they're all working on a scenario. That is an interesting new layer to the story. So who is the one keeping the constellation trapped? Is it the outer gods or whatever? That's crazy to think about. Just like us. So even if you do become a constellation, you're still just in a scenario. Then constellations are just powerful beings who were born while partaking in a scenario. They're not gods. They're not almighty beings. No one has ever reached the end of the scenarios. This world, or maybe, is a never-ending hell. Maybe, the author, because the author is the one who's making, and we don't know what the fourth wall is really. The author is the one who is writing this apocalypse into existence. And we know that there were previous apocalypses. Were they all written by different authors? And this author who said he was his story was selected for a reward, I assumed it was the reward is it's going to be the next apocalypse or whatever that happens. But maybe that's just a part of the story. So again, it just makes you question, like with Dokja and everything, what's real, what was fake, what was ever real or what was ever fake. Because if this is the situation, then what about the characters who didn't exist before Dokja, before Dokja entered this, that were just fictional characters before now? And yeah, what does that mean for the world that Dokja lived in before the world became this? It's like two similar timelines merging into each other. So it's like, what was the original reality? What's the new reality? And we're getting into the philosophical stuff again of taking Dokja and what he knows. Was the story always real? And he was just spawned into the story with preset memories? Or was he always real and the story never became real until he became a part of it? I don't know. Very chicken and egg situation. And that's where we end? Jeez. Okay, so again with this, we're getting into really the deep philosophical nature of the scenarios again, and learning a lot more about how the world exists, but we also have to take into account that this isn't being told to us by some like long-standing, super powerful, mythical, god-level constellation. It's not being told to us by the author, it's being told to us by Gerbil, who is a member of the incarnations, a person who is in his own scenario, though trying to exist outside of it by being in paradise. And it also feels like if the constellations or the star stream, the law of, I guess the star stream would be what all of the constellations are beholden to in terms of making them complete their own scenarios. And then it makes you think, well, what is the star stream then? Is it just some primordial force? Okay. It's like, does it even have any sort of intelligent design, or is it just a law of nature? And I love that this is being told not through Dokja, but through Huiwon. Because it just, like, I don't know, some of the stuff we saw like way earlier in the series with Soo-young I really enjoyed, because it was like we spent all this time with Dokja as kind of our only main focus, and then there were some things done with Soo-young's character that made it feel like, okay, Dokja's not alone. This is somebody else who is kind of in the know, so to speak, who is not really a character exactly, but who feels like she has more importance or more freedom in the story. And now with stuff like this, it feels like that for Huiwon too, when Huiwon's getting this information and feels like she's having her own decisions that really, really matter outside of Dokja. Decisions that, regardless of what Dokja does or thinks, matters. And to a degree, you could say that that's kind of happened for Hyun-sung, just a teeny bit, but not a lot. We haven't spent a ton of time with that. And you could say that it's happened a bit with Sang-ah, not necessarily being a character, and her having her own decisions and having her own lore reveals that we don't know about. But that's the thing, we don't know about it. Most of what Sang-ah knows and the plays that she's making and decisions she's making have kind of been kept mysterious to us as readers. So we'll have to learn more in the future. But either way, this is just our first chapter this week, so let's go read some more. 187 starts kind of where we left off here. And we see people watching on. And that's where we ended. That's why I couldn't help but create this place called Paradise. But Paradise will fall if I don't do anything. The number of humans is decreasing, while the demonic species are growing in number. We lack the resources for the upkeep of the land. You could keep this place going for the next 10 years, since you were chosen by the Archangel. And someone who became a constellation like Kim Dokja could keep this land alive for the next 200 years at least. And we see Dokja talking with the messenger incarnation. I'm not exactly sure what to call him. I forget the exact terminology. Do you think I'll say yes to something like that? With your help, we won't need to punish our people who have been charged with misdemeanors for a while. You could help save the lives of thousands, if not millions. She looks over. The constellations of the absolute good alignment are looking at you. If I could, if my death could save millions of lives, that would be the just and righteous thing to do. But what about my life? What did my life even for? Man, this is such an impactful, emotional moment and everything. And they messed up, they fumbled the translation at such a beautiful moment. You're good with the sword, we won. She looks at her reflection. You're the most unforgiving among us when it comes to injustice, especially when it comes to those who abuse their power. You always put yourself in the front lines of our battles, and you never once complained about things being difficult. These are the things I can tell about you, because you kept participating in the scenarios. That's the very reason why I think we should keep taking part in the scenarios, because, oh man, the scenarios have shown who a person truly is. It puts who they are to the test. It's putting them in the crucible and seeing if they're refined or burned away. And also there's the fact that it's like, you could keep Paradise running for another 10 years, sure, but Paradise comes at the expense of, he said, the people who commit misdemeanors. It comes at the expense that, from what we saw of the people who were just getting rounded up, innocent people who don't know any better. And it's like, do you sacrifice innocent people who don't know any better and not give them a chance at survival? Or do you destroy Paradise, which is like most likely going to kill a lot of people, but you're not purposefully killing them. You're not purposely taking them down here and feeding them to the peach tree. You are saying, okay, no free rides essentially. You now have to complete the scenarios. You have to survive on your own merit, and that's harsh, but it's either a situation where some people are just murdered for other people to not be murdered, or nobody is murdered, but everybody has to fight to survive. They don't just get to survive by default. Dokja must not have given up, even when he knew the truth behind the scenario. I've killed many people. I may have been waiting for a chance to atone for myself. But I made those choices because I wanted to keep living. I want to continue living. She stands up to him. Even if a lot of people end up dying because of my choices, I'll just learn to live with that fact. I can't die here. No, you really must die. You must become the nutrient that supports Paradise. And all the demons start attacking. We have a crash through the wall. Is that going to be the others coming to help? We won. We see Hyunsung punching one of the demons, knocking it away. Come on, why'd you have to go off on your own again? We have Jihye, Gil-young, and Yusung. All of them together now. Everyone? It looks like I'll be able to obtain a lot of nutrients. Okay, and that's just the title splash. Kim Dokja's Love Part 5. Me and a few other constellations believe that you'll be able to reach, and then it's blanked out. It could be just the end. It could be, well, do we know what the end is? Is the end Ragnarok, Gigantomachia, whatever? Or does that happen at the end of every apocalypse and then everything gets reset for the next apocalypse? We have Soo-young and Dokja reacting. What did he mean by what he just said? I don't know. You don't? Was what he said censored for you as well? It probably has something to do with the end of all the scenarios. That must have been why it was censored, because there are even things that Dokja isn't allowed to know. That aside, what will you do about your fate? Seeing how a constellation from Olympus came to warn you in person, it really does seem dangerous. Didn't you get to hear anything in detail? Did he just say that you'd die? Well, Incarnation Kim Dokja will be driven to death by the being he loves the most. And they're using being here. She looks surprised. Do you even have something like that? The being he loves the most. Must mean a person, right? You could say that I don't. Is it the story itself? Because the story helped him through so much in life? Then shouldn't that fate be withdrawn? Why are you so happy? Or maybe you'll end up developing feelings for someone. Are you someone who falls in love easily at first sight? It's never happened before, but it's not completely impossible. It's just a possibility, though. So I like, too, that upon hearing this information, it's a mystery for Dokja, too. For us as readers, we're like I've been trying to guess, like, who is it that he loves the most? But also for he himself, when confronted with this, he has to think, like, he's thinking to himself, I don't have anybody like that, right? And he's like, it's a mystery for him too when he's like, okay, I'm going to be killed by the being I love the most. What is that exactly? The fate was so powerful that the message was repeated 3 times. This is confusing. Will I end up falling in love with someone? It's possible that it could mean something else. What? Fate isn't something that's supposed to be taken literally. Prophecies are never told in a straightforward manner where you can understand it right away. They're usually full of symbols and metaphors. Then that leaves me with 3 questions. 1. There must be a reason why it referred to you as an incarnation. Oh! Big brain, giant brain so young. Incarnation? You're a constellation now. Then you could be considered already dead as an incarnation. Hey, that kind of makes sense. You're indeed a writer. That's some good interpretation. 2. The being he loves most could very well be a metaphor. It doesn't necessarily have to be a person. And he's thinking about that. And the 3rd question is the meaning behind the word death. I mean, yeah, he's died like multiple times already and just come back. And from what we know, he gets to die a good couple more times. Like a good at least half dozen or so more times and come back. It could not be referring to death in the literal sense. Then what? When do you think a person's considered dead? When their life comes to an end. When their heart stops and they no longer breathe. I've experienced it a few times. Now I understand why you'd read something like TWSA over and over again. Don't you even read comics? There's a cliche line for times like these. When does someone truly die? It's when they're erased from people's memories. Ave Maria playing in the background. But that's just in comics. It was just an example, idiot. It's the same in the star stream. A constellation dies when its existence is forgotten by all beings. It could be akin to something like that. Okay, so there is some level of importance for constellations in how many people know about them, how many people believe in them, how strong their story is, basically. So if it's a story that a lot of people know, where there's some like OP deity or whatever, like people all around the world know about Zeus as a Greek god. So it's like, okay, your story is powerful enough that a lot of people know it, and in their story, they consider you to be like top tier. But then, if there's another story where you're considered like a top tier god or whatever, but like pretty much nobody knows about it, it feels like you would then end up weaker, and if nobody knows about it anymore, you're just lost to history, then you're gone. But why would people forget about me? Do they end up getting mass amnesia or something? And that's a danger now, too, since Dokja is a constellation. Back when he was not a constellation, everybody could forget about him because they get hit by mass amnesia, and he'd be like, okay, well, this is a somewhat of an inconvenience. But now as a constellation, if everybody gets hit with mass amnesia, does he just poof out of existence because of that? Maybe you'll be forgotten in a different sense. What else could it mean? Okay, so I'm thinking he could be forgotten in the sense that people forget about the Dokja that he used to be, the human, normal, just person Dokja, and the only Dokja they remember is the constellation Dokja. And if that happens, if everyone thinks of him as a constellation and nobody thinks of him as a person anymore, then does he stop being a person and only is a constellation? Kim Dokja. The dead can't remember anything. Oh, if everybody who knows him dies. But that doesn't, I feel like, necessarily work as much anymore, because now all these constellations know him. So all of the constellations that know him would have to die, right? In order for him to be forgotten. Unless they can just expunge him from their memories and be like, let's get rid of this guy. could it be? And we have blood dripping. Or maybe, like I said, it's the human thing. Anyone who remembers him as a human could die, and that could be the danger. We see all of his allies fighting against the demons. Should we head back? We'll be too late. It'll take us 3 days to get back. Even if we go as fast as we can, it would take us more than a day. And we have Dokja talking. It'll be fine. Right about now, someone in Dark Castle achieved transcendence for the first time in the scenario. The strongest ally they could have asked for should be with them, and somebody else crashes in. What's that? And Rubble is heading towards him. Is this a repeat of the Tyrant King? It all crashes down. It's about time he started acting like the main character. Although, he wouldn't know that I sent him there. You've hidden yourself very well. He hops down onto the rubble. But where is Kim Dokja? And then we end. That's a really good cliffhanger. I'm assuming that it's going to be like one of those things where the rubble falling on him was like this funny callback to like what happened with the Tyrant King, but then Gerbil's going to get back up and we have an actual fight with Gerbil. Maybe not, but I feel like this is going to be like a funny callback to the Tyrant King, and then our expectations get shifted and it turns into like an actual conflict. But either way, we'll see. I'm sort of having trouble talking. My throat and breathing has still been bothering me since after I've been sick. But I'm going to try to get through one more chapter so that I don't leave you on only 2, so that I do 3. So let's do 188. Alright, I'll try my best to get through 188, but towards the end of the last chapter I was coughing a lot and having to cut that out. So, either way, let's go through 188 now. But where is Kim Dokja? So we just start with but. Where is Kim Dokja? And we have the sister, we have MIA, we have Mia coming in on Sanya's back. And then, oh, no title quite yet. We have, is he trying to make himself go into somebody else's perspective? Is that what's going on here? Kim Dokja's Love, Part 6. And we have GK fighting. Master! I asked where Kim Dokja was. Just ignored. What do you need him for? He's in danger. What? He already left 4 days ago. What do you mean he's in danger? Are you sure? Are you sure you're not mistaken? It would be so funny if she's like, he's gonna be killed by the person he loves the most, and then everybody's like, he left with Su Young, and then everybody just gets the like comedic wrong idea about the two of them. Everybody's just like, he'll be killed by the one he loves most, and then everybody's like, well, he's with Su Young. That would be so funny. What do you mean he's in danger? Are you sure you're not mistaken? He's not the one in danger, we are. And now we see this horde of demons still. I'll explain once we get out of here. I didn't realize how dire things were. We'll escape through the roof. And we have hand-to-hand combat Junghyuk, 100-step godly fists. He starts throwing hands with the demons, taking them all out with his bare hands. I thought that we might not have made it out of here. Then he's going through more of them. Let's head up. Wait, it's too steep for the children to climb. I feel like after everything they've been through, they should be a lot stronger by now, right? I don't know, it felt weird, like, we weren't specifically told how strong these individual little demons were. I kind of felt like Dokja's allies should have been putting up a better fight against them personally, but now, not only that, but it's like, they should be able to just climb out of here, like, even Yusung and Gil Young should be fine, right? And then just grabbed, I'll make some steps, so climb up using that. And steps made of monsters. He's just throwing the bodies. What a bother. This is quite unexpected. Are you the incarnation, Yu Jung-hyuk? He looks surprised. What? He's still not dead? And we have the rubble there. I guess I shouldn't have expected the second strongest ranker of Dark Castle to die from a pile of rocks falling on him. You can't come with us. I'm sorry, says Yusung, and he pushes her back. Yusung! What the hell do you think you're doing? You better join her. And he pushes Go Young too. He falls back. And we have this massive thud. Is this the effect of everything caving in, affecting all of paradise? What was that just now? Could it be monsters? It's fine. The guards will take care of them, so don't worry. We have Junkyuk coming through the smoke. What was that? What's going on? The things that aren't a part of the scenario are also stories. I once tried to protect this place in accordance with Reinheit's beliefs. Paradise will fall soon. I'm sorry? Find something you can protect with your own strength, and defend that. He turns back away. It's so funny, like, if we didn't have the further context surrounding this and we were just reading TWSA, it's like, oh, he's being such a main character. All the monsters start coming out of the hole that was created before. Why are they attacking us? Lord Reinheit. Where's Lord Reinheit? Guards? And then the people all start to run and get slaughtered by the creatures. Well, this turned out extremely poorly. Now, we have Junkyuk coming in to protect the girl that I thought was just going to get stepped on. I thought we were just like, oh, she's dead. But we have the heroic Junkyuk coming in. There's no need to worry, people. No need to worry. Everybody is dying. Or is that Reinheit speaking and he's coming up out of the ground? Lord Reinheit. And we're going to see his demonic form, maybe? My lord? Or maybe he fused with the peach tree. Okay, so we have full demon gerbil form. And we get Cliffhung there. Come on. Well, I don't know how long this fight's going to be, so if it's going to be a couple more chapters, I guess it's fine to end here, even though that felt really short, because there was a lot of, like, really big art pieces that were really cool. A lot of action sets. So, with that aside, I guess I'll end this here, though that last one was a bit short. We got really cliffhung. Dang it, I want to read this fight now. But I feel like I'm not having the easiest time speaking. So, either way, I'll end it here. Next week, again, let me know how long you think is a good place to end, how long you think I should read for. I might be a little bit busy next week, because literally it'll be my birthday, but hopefully should be fine to do stuff, so even if it's a day late, maybe. So just let me know how long I should go for next week, but either way, that's it. Thank you for watching. Like if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of these 3 chapters, my thoughts and reaction. Subscribe for more Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, it is free and open for anyone. If you'd like to help support the channel, then you can drop a super thanks down below. That's greatly appreciated. If you want to support the channel, get your name at the end of videos and get One Piece videos a little bit early, then you can hit join down below to become a member. Go to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description. Thank you so much to people who are already patrons and channel members. Thank you to Chosen Regular Evan Holly, Magical Girls FR JAN to the ED Band, Cheverton Students David Langstaff and Folded Goal Slayer Candidates SG and Stan Cedar, and Pure Element Pate Arialo. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.